Hey guys, it's Mishi, and today I'm going to talk about my job hunt. I started looking for my job around a week before the exams. Reason being, I didn't want to be bothered by it. I knew it was a hard and long process that I had to be committed to, and I couldn't be committed to studying and preparing for the CRNE. I started looking online, seeing the job postings, and applying online basically. Making my resume was one big part. Also, a big chunk of my time was put on making a resume. I was trying to look for volunteer opportunities, which unfortunately, because I lived in the city, it was full and hard to get into. Imagine, I did some certifications. I did the ACLS. It was expensive. It was close to $500, and as much as I wanted to certify in PALS and all the other good stuff, I couldn't because I didn't have the means anymore. I was just broke. Yes, I went around and started looking for a job more seriously after the exam was done. I went to it right away, started applying online, doing what I can, applying. I wasn't picky at all. I picked everything from mental health to ICU, and never heard back. Even new grad initiative programs or jobs that they posted, I never got it, and I didn't think I would because I don't know if I fit in the category that they're looking for as a new grad. They're probably considering, new grads of those who actually studied their 4 years here. So I started looking, and I think I applied, I don't know how many, but I would say it reached maybe close to 100, if not more, applications online. In doing that, I just got frustrated because I felt like, applying online is tough because they never get to see you, they never get to know you and how committed you are, because trying to put everything in a piece of paper to describe everything that you are and everything you're passionate about, it's just not possible. After that, I kept applying and nothing was happening, so I got frustrated and I decided, you know what, it's time for me to, go out of my box and do something different. If I really want a job, I have to show that I want it. I have to go grab it. And so I actually went to different hospitals, different long-term cares, different facilities in person, bringing my resume and handing them out. Some gave me the cold shoulder and just told me, we only accept online applications. And some did take my applications but gave no guarantee of whether or not I would be considered. And one time I did come across a nursing manager who I heard was really nice and she'd probably give me a shot. However, she honestly sat me down and told me, just so you know, I want you to know that we have over 50 interviews, and all of them are RNs with experience. That's your competition. This is why I'm not getting hired. This is why I'm not even being considered. Number one, I'm an external candidate because here in our province we have this big provincial healthcare system that if you're actually working in one of the hospitals or long-term cares that is under this umbrella company, then you are an internal candidate. Otherwise, you're external. If I had the same qualifications as an internal candidate, the internal candidate still gets the first hand and I get the back seat basically. It's not anymore the case of who you know kind of thing, because even though you may have connections, the competition has become so stiff now that it's being held by an actual HR management team that you can't just go bypass the HR and go to the manager straight away. It doesn't work that way anymore. It was tough. It was really tough, and being shut down face to face every single time, it's like I've never been so rejected in my life. I swear, it takes a toll on your self-esteem as well. You feel like you've come a long way, but yet there's just so much still. It's a time where I had trouble uploading my resume on my online profile, and I messaged the HR asking what to do and stuff. And ever since I emailed the HR, I got an email back from a candidate management team, and basically they help mobilize external candidates to get into the healthcare system. And so they helped me, but they offered only jobs that were rural jobs, so outside the city. And that was a challenge because I love the city. I have family, I have friends here, and I've already shut so many people out of my life from studying and taking time away to study. And so I didn't want to, have to work away again, but it seemed like the only option available for me at this time. I decided to, open up my horizons, see what's out there. And right away, when I said yes, I would consider working outside the city, I got a job offer like that. Like, I had a phone interview and at the same time a job offer the next day. However, this was 8 hours away from the city, and the only way to get there is to drive 8 hours, and I'm not that confident of a driver to drive that far off, so I had to say no, unfortunately, and my family weren't too happy about me moving away that far. I did try to look about other places that were close to the city somehow, even just a few hours, 2 hours, 3 hours max, and fortunately I did get a job opening. However, it wasn't full-time, it was only part-time, but it was all I had, and it seemed like the better option because it was only 2 hours away from the city. So I was like, oh, that's not much of a drive, I can always come home on my days off and whatnot. So I went for an interview in person. And so basically they would ask clinical questions as well as your core values. So I remember being asked, other than signs of shock, they also asked me what would I do in a situation where I don't agree with the doctor's orders, or when I encounter a difficult patient or a difficult family, how do I handle that? I can't really remember, but there were several clinical questions that they actually asked. Maternity questions like, when is it normal to have red drainage after giving birth? And I said 3 days, which is the rubra. And I feel great that I did the CRNE very recently, because that kind of prepped me for the possible clinical questions that they had. And so after that, after a long winding road, I finally got a job offer at a rural town outside the city, only 2 hours away. So that hit my sweet spot, and I decided to take it, and here I am. I'm actually on my 3rd week of orientation, and working in a rural area is very challenging. I kind of like it because you learn everything and anything. Unlike in the city where everything's specialized, and I'll make a whole other video about working in rural nursing because there isn't much information on it, so I'd be happy to share my experiences with you about that. But I actually only looked for a job for a month, but that was enough to drive me to go here outside the city to finally work, because I was so low on income, I just couldn't afford to be unemployed at this point. So I know a lot of people have been a little unhappy with my decision because they feel like I didn't wait long enough to get an actual job in the city, but I couldn't wait, and I'd rather have experience from now, so that when I come back to the city I have something to show, and I have experience, and I'm a changed person. And so that's what I'm doing. I'd rather have experience than none, even though it's not convenient, even though it's not my dream job. I guess nobody should expect to have their dream job right off of graduation. I mean, yes, some people do have it, but not everyone. And you just have to compromise. You just have to see what's out there. And I can tell you for sure that it's easier to get a job in the rural areas than in the city. That's something, you should think about maybe. And the good thing about rural is, yeah, I don't want to say so much because I do want to save it for another video another time. But that was my job hunt basically, and I'd love to hear about other people's experiences with their job hunts and what their secrets were to get a job and all that. And I'm just happy right now that I am employed. I haven't had my first paycheck yet, but it'll be coming soon hopefully. And as a grad nurse, I am earning $31 an hour, and that would increase to 34 once I actually get my RN, which isn't, so much. And you do get retro pay for the time you spent as a grad nurse in the end when you do turn out to be an RN later. So that's what I'm doing right now. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope my tips were helpful, or my story will help you gain an understanding of what's to come. So that's everything. Thank you so much. Bye.